everybody. Kellen Harned with you. Ryan Hoke. It is an alert day. Surprise, surprise. We've had several of those. And now that we look around the area, we have some snow falling in places. And welcome in here. It's 8:15 in the evening on this Wednesday, February 19th.
February 32nd. That's what it feels like. This has been a very long month of winter weather and severe weather and everything else you can think of. Flooding.
Yeah.
Yes.
No question about that. We've been keeping an eye on the SkyTrack cameras. You're looking in between us here at Simpsonville. They've had a few light snow showers, but we're starting to see a little better return coming in from our camera over in Corydon. And we can switch over and show you what that looks like from beautiful Harrison County, Indiana.
Oh, look at those flakes. You can see them in front of the street lights there pretty easily. We've had some bigger flakes in the last 10 minutes there. And a few of those are flying right at the camera now. Perfect timing. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. Now, it won't take long to see these roads get a quick coating of snow. We could get up to an inch of snow through the evening hours here as the snow moves in. So, folks just now joining us, jump on in, share the feed so we can get everybody in before we start answering specific questions. That way we won't waste anybody's time. Snowing pretty good down in Bardstown. We have cameras down there as well. And we can see a number of all of our communities with our SkyTrack network. Always a handy tool to have when we have active weather going on.
Yeah, whether it be snow or severe weather, we've seen everything from wall clouds that precede tornadoes to snow like we're seeing now. But overnight, it's the snow we'll see, but the snow's not going to be super heavy or anything like that.
No, this is a light snow event, and we're going to talk about what made this morning's snow event so light as well. I mean, when you look at how much we've had since Sunday, we're going to share those totals with you. We've had over 5 inches of snow. We'll add a little bit to that this evening and into the overnight. So not a crippling snow this go round, but it certainly has been impactful in terms of road conditions, and mainly because of the temperature. And boy, that plays a critical role, because when we're in the teens or even single digits, it doesn't take that much to create slick spots because it renders the treatment useless.
Yeah, traditional road salt, NaCl, which is sodium chloride, does not work very effectively below 15 degrees. Our low tonight in Louisville is 12. So you see where the problem is, right? Of course, they have other mixtures, other salt sodium mixtures that can go even lower than 15 degrees, but not every municipality has that. And that may not be what you put on your driveway this evening here. So be advised, there will be some slick roads early tomorrow morning, much like there were this morning. It didn't take much snow here in Louisville to really slick things up, and we saw numerous crashes out there. So that's the concern about tomorrow morning and why this alert day goes through the 9 o'clock hour Thursday morning.
Yeah, we'll keep it in there so we can get past. Now, the snow will be long gone by then, as we mentioned, but the impacts may linger through that morning commute. Cameron's saying he's hoping the system overperforms by an inch tonight, so JCP hasn't decided. That may help us. Well, we don't know, to answer the questions that folks are chiming in. Do we know if they're school? No, we don't. They may not make that decision until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Who knows? So a lot of folks asking about JCPS. Bottom line on that is, haven't heard anything yet. Kimberly answers the question for us, and I suspect we won't hear anything this evening. I think they'll wait till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, especially because this is such a small, minor event, but the temperature is what's making it a little bit more interesting than usual for an inch of snow. Since Sunday, by the way, we've had 5.4 inches of snow. This has been a nutty week. Everything's been kind of topsy-turvy here with the snow.
Yeah, and Joe's asking a question. What time frames used to calculate that season snowfall total? Any time from fall to spring, or only what officially falls in the winter? And you can see our season normal is 13.4. Our season total this year to today's date so far is 22.3. So impressive snow totals. When you look at this, we haven't had a greater total since 2015.
Yeah, this is the snowiest winter since 2015. And to answer Joe's question there, they calculate that really starting kind of October 1st. That's like the water year, if you will. So it's anything that fell kind of starting later in the year, but still in fall, going all the way through the winter and early spring. So we kind of lump that altogether. It's not a year thing. It's not necessarily just specific months. It's actually just kind of late in the year into early next year. That is quote unquote winter when it comes to those season snowfall totals.
Yeah, and like Kathy, she's like, I hope we don't get any more anytime soon. Can we just be done for now?
The revenge of March.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, I know. We often have, we should do the calculation, but a lot of Marches have snow for us.
Absolutely. We have had it. I remember 2008, we had a 10-inch snowfall here in Louisville. It was gone in 24 hours because it was so warm the next day. I remember going to the home garden remodeling show, and we had 10 inches of snow on the ground, but the roads were great because the sun angle was so high. So March snows can be those big wet ones.
Elizabeth said watching that snowboard was good TV.
That ran for 8 hours last night on Facebook. Can you believe that?
And then Scott was asking, hey, what happened to the snowboard live stream? And the snowboard is still outside.
It's still
Brian
there.
cleaned it off for today's snow.
I'm glad he did.
What was it? Just shy of an inch?
Yeah.
In the weather garden?
It was kind of pathetic.
I know.
It was pathetic.
I looked at it last night. I mean, I was here until like 2 a.m., 2:30. Yeah. And there are like 800, 900 and some viewers watching that from across the globe.
Can you imagine all of us watching this piece of plywood?
Even snowing. I was like, oh boy, we sure didn't put it out on the best snow of the season.
Well, it jinxed us, so we don't have it up tonight because we're worried it's a jinx at this point.
Yeah, so we had around an inch downtown, but let's take a look at some of these snow totals. And by the way, thank you so much for those that send in snow totals because this is helpful. Helps to verify our forecast. And a few parts of our forecast were spot on. We knew along and south of 64 would be the higher snow totals. That certainly was the case. I mean, look at 64. It's like, boom, that's perfect. Were we off a little on the totals? Yes. Why? Well, if you rewind back a couple of nights, you heard me say we were not going to go with a sharp cutoff on the northern edge because we just didn't buy it in the one model that had it. The other models didn't have it, by the way. And so we went with a sort of a more broad brush sort of dither, if you will, to take the snow out. But boy, that bit us in the butt because that drier air, you could go back and look at the radar loop on that, and that drier air, you could just see it coming down because the northern edge of that precip just getting chunked away right through Louisville. And I thought for a minute last night when we were on this stream, and remember we were talking about the dew point, we had to reach saturation, and by the time that happened, we were going to be snowing. Well, that happened very fast.
It did.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Our totals aren't going to be in jeopardy at all because of something like that. But then that dry air from the north just kept backing south, and it ate away that northern edge of that snow band, and it just never could overcome it.
And when you look at the dew point, you look at it at the surface, right? So we were looking at surface dew point observations that were getting more saturated, allowing the snowflakes to make it down. So it wasn't necessarily dry air at the surface, but mid-level dry air in the atmosphere was likely surging in from Canada during that. So it created this stark cutoff right across Jefferson County, which was no fun for snow lovers. But for those that weren't looking forward to having to shovel a ton of snow, well, you got your wish.
I still had to shovel.
I did too.
About maybe an inch and 3/4, something like that.
It was an inch and some change at my house. So,
So a couple inches here, which wasn't crazy far off. I mean, if you're only off an inch, right, that's not that big a deal. We kept saying 3 to 5 across the area. Oh, I mean, if you look at that, that's pretty close. We like to be exact. To be honest, I'll be real transparent. I'm sort of a perfectionist.
I had no idea. After 17 years, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, we were very close. We weren't exact. We will get better. It's the way weather works, right?
It is. Yeah. You don't hit them all, but we've been okay, at least okay, if not good, this winter with most of these systems, and the model data has handled this usually pretty well. We've had a couple little surprises here and there, but nothing extreme at least.
Well, here we go again. Sound the alarm.
Woo, 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 woo.
It's another winter weather advisory.
And a wave weather alert
day too. Yeah, sorry, I should have gone with that. Of course, they knew that because we had that graphic up, so I wanted to show the winter weather advisory. This is for tonight. It's for what is happening now, really, and will carry us into the early morning hours. Light snow, problematic when you have temperatures so cold because of the slick spots. This is not a big snowmaker for us, but we are under the winter weather advisory.
You may be wondering about Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings counties, why they're not under the advisory. That's just NWS Indianapolis, who controls those 3 counties, electing not to do that. Their standard for a winter weather advisory a little bit higher, just because they, climatologically speaking, get more snow. So it doesn't mean that Bedford to Seymour is getting no snow. Just means that you guys are in a zone that typically sees more snow than we see here.
Not as impactful for you folks.
Exactly.
Criteria is a little different the farther north you go.
Exactly.
So when we look at the radar view, you can see that we do have, and we have had some light snow showers across the area for hours now, but that little wave moving in right across southern Indiana, coming down closer to the Ohio River near Perry County. This is what we're looking at in Corydon, and you can see it's knocking on our door downtown as well. But if we show you what it's like in Corydon, you'll notice across the area that, yeah, we still have pretty light snow falling, but look at the light. Come into the light. You will see that it is coming down, and that will be enough. If that happens for, if it snows like this for 30 minutes, you're going to get a coating of snow. Yeah. Factor in that temperature that's coming in, in the teens. Yeah. That's going to create some slick conditions.
Yeah, they were around 19 at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. So it is cold, and that road salt won't work as well once we get below 15. So that'll be kind of the critical number to watch for tonight.
Yeah, I want to just zoom into the metro here so we can take a closer view of what's happening here. We did mention it's going to be coming in to Louisville. You can see that from Shively to Portland and Parkland and right into the downtown area, New Albany. I don't have the SkyTrack cameras up over here. Do you have those where you can change that to New Albany?
That's a good question. Let me figure that out.
Hang on, I can get into PC1. I've got it. No, I can't.
No, that's yeah.
Well, that's a bummer.
This room is great, but it's not built for weather.
So you need something.
Thankfully, we have
like
smartphones.
99 computers in
You're looking for New
room
Albany?
in there. Yeah, I was just going to switch around from
Give me just a second.
New Albany to downtown just to see if we can see that snow coming down. They always said, one thing Tom used to always do before he would go on the air would be walk outside, because there's nothing worse than going on there and be like, yeah, we don't see any snow. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Did you look out the window? Since we don't have windows, you had to walk outside.
And we still don't have windows in our windowless weather office.
Right. I'll put up a few comments while you look through that. Are you calling somebody that can help?
No, actually, remote controlling our computers here.
Phoning a friend, maybe.
The final answer is
no. Tim says no school in Edmonson County for Thursday. I have no idea, to be honest. Who has school? A lot of folks. Jonathan's just like, more snow, more snow, more snow. Bring it on. And then some people are just wishful. Maddox is like, I hope Oldham County schools are out. And then Logan's just like, let's just skip spring, go straight to summer. Anybody please bring on the warmer 80-degree weather? Well, I'm with you. I'm ready for that. All right, here comes Cody. Cody's saying, Campbellsville, Kentucky again. You guys were spot on yesterday. The roads have been treated but still have snow and are very wet. With the cold and more snow coming, how will my roads be? My university still hasn't closed yet. Yeah, again, light snow everywhere. So this will not be more than an inch of snow. Very fine. It's very cold. It's very blowable snow that you can sort of sweep off or use a leaf blower with. So that's what we have. You'll see the same thing, probably a little lighter down toward Campbellsville, I would suspect.
Okay, so there are New Albany SkyTrack cameras actually down right now. It's one of the ones our engineering department's working on, but I can give you downtown Louisville.
All right, well, there we
go.
go.
It looks like there. You can see some lower visibility, especially in the distance there. So definitely some snow starting to come down here in the city.
Yeah, so we'll watch that move in while we take some of your questions. And here we go. Snow or no snow. It's too cold to stand and wait on a bus. So I'm assuming Michelle's saying maybe we shouldn't have school. And a lot of people are asking that question. Question mark. Maria says, NTI for JCPS tomorrow? Question mark. Don't know. Probably won't know until morning. 5 a.m. is the time they'll make that call. They've had a lot of days, but the good news is they can they don't have to build it on or tack it on to the end of the calendar because they can do it from home.
Yeah, like when we were kids and we had to go to school through June. Boo. So NTI is kind of good for that.
Yeah, right. And then Kathy's again chiming in. She says there's never enough snow. Some people think they should close the schools already. I don't know.
Everybody has such strong opinions about
true?
school closings.
Do you think they should close?
I don't have a dog in this race. I truly don't. I don't have kids in school. So, I mean, I don't have the sensibilities of a parent in this situation.
What is the condition at which you would deem it safe for kids to go to school?
In my opinion, it would be if the main roads are clear.
Yep.
That's step one. If the side roads are okay, neighborhood streets are okay,
Right.
then that's fine. But once you get into a situation where you've got buses starting to fishtail all over the place, I think that's when they got to consider their options, right?
I think tomorrow's a good candidate for like a 2-hour delay.
Oh, yeah, because they'll be able to get a handle on the roads because the sun will come out in the afternoon.
Well, it's really
That'll
about
help.
the cold too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, so we'll see how much snow we get. If we get a lot of snow, that could be problematic. I mean, meaning if we get that inch, I think we're going to fall less than an inch.
Yeah.
But if we get an inch of snow, that could be problematic.
But the cold in the morning would be tough for the kids.
It gets a little warmer once the sun comes up,
obviously,
by nature of the sun. So we'll see what happens. We do not have anything to do with school closings, by the way. On occasion, superintendents will call and consult or text and just be like, hey, what is your thinking? They obviously talk to the National Weather Service. They have teams of their own that are out on the streets in their districts. So we can only give them the information that we have. Right?
Yeah. And hats off to the National Weather Service. They've had a very busy week here as well with all the snow and everything going on. They're working as diligently as we are to try to keep you informed about this. There's the wide shot of the snow moving in. You see how kind of compact and small this is. This isn't a big system. This is kind of the area of low pressure moving through at the mid-levels, inspiring enough lift to give us these snow showers today.
Yeah, what we had yesterday is now already off the East Coast, and this is sort of on the backside of that mid-level low coming through. Just enough lift to provide that condensation that's squeezing out what little bit of moisture is in the atmosphere at this point. I mean, we didn't have as much as we thought we had yesterday,
right?
And now we still don't have a lot. So there's no way this can produce a lot of snow.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup here, and our cup's pretty empty of moisture, so this isn't going to be a whole lot overnight tonight. The bust potential here for seeing a lot of snow, just not in the cards because you don't have that moisture source. So the only bust potential would be a low bust, meaning you get less snow than predicted. But when you're already just predicting a dusting to an inch, what's the difference, right? And you're seeing here on the radar, proof's in the pudding. It is at least snowing in a good chunk of wave country now.
Yeah, and a coating of snow. I'll keep stressing it because people will get out and be like, I didn't know it was going to be so slick.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much when temperatures are where they are in the low 20s. Here's the model data. We're going to bring the futurecast through here. We still have snow around 11 o'clock. That's out of here by, I'd say, 1 or 2 in the morning, moving to our east. Temperatures are in the teens. Bundle up. The wind chill still going to be problematic even into tomorrow morning. So you'll notice those early morning temperatures, single digits for some, especially if we see any clearing, which isn't all that likely, but we could see some clearing as we go into the 8-9 a.m. time frame, and temperatures will slowly try to build back into the 20s tomorrow. Snowfall forecast, say it with me, less than an inch. Yes.
Or up to an inch if you're a glass half full kind of person, right?
Yeah, right. I noticed that's how it's written. I always say less than an inch.
And you know who wrote that?
Brian.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's his terminology.
I kept a lot of his stuff today. So
yes. So we have the snowfall forecast, not so, big in the snowfall category, but enough to cause some problems. So when we talk about that, we obviously are talking about road impacts. Talk temperatures here in a second, but we've been focused on the snow. And just to sort of recap, as we look at the road impacts, we said we're going to have this little wave move through. This was the third piece. By the way, if you rewind all the way back to Monday, remember there were 3 pieces of energy coming through. We said it was going to cause some light snow showers to begin with. Thought we'd have heavier snow as we went into last night, early this morning. Wound up not being all that heavy for us, but across central Kentucky. And this is the third and final piece of energy that comes through with this whole system, right? We've already picked up 5.2 inches of snow since Sunday. A lot of snow on the ground. very cold temperatures moving in. Could see some slick road conditions for early Thursday.
And then once we get some sunshine by the afternoon, even with it being so far below freezing, you'll still be able to heat up the road surfaces enough that, not only will the treatment work, but the roads will start to melt on their own here. So I think we can give it a yellow light all the way through the rest of Thursday after the morning. Friday morning, it will be very cold, single digits. We'll talk about those temperatures in a
My
moment.
watch said they didn't understand you.
Yeah, Siri is monitoring our conversations here. Hi there.
Yes.
It happens. Like, it's funny because your
Zuckerberg chiming in.
Woo! They've got a file on us.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, like by the time we get to Friday morning, it's so cold in the single digits that, your road treatment won't work there either. So if there's any refreeze, it would stay frozen solid. I don't think that's going to be too huge of a deal. And by Friday afternoon, this is pretty much a non-event because we will be, say it with me, above freezing. Hallelujah.
Yes, there we go. Let's talk temperatures, because one place we're not above freezing is anywhere around our viewing area right now. And bada bing, a new alert. It is the cold weather advisory. Have you heard of it? Maybe not. It's fairly new. It sort of replaced the old wind chill advisory that we had. They just sort of clumped all the cold stuff. The Weather Service is notorious for just tacking on things as time goes on. Oh, kind of like, well, the federal government, as we roll through, it just gets added on to, and really things don't get changed unless there's an act of Congress. Well, you don't have to have that for advisories or anything like that. But the Weather Service had a lot of different cold weather products, and they said, hey, let's simplify this so people understand it a little bit better. So consequently, we now have the cold weather advisory.
Right. So it goes cold weather advisory, extreme cold watch, and extreme cold warning now. So those are your three products you'll get for just cold air, basically.
Wind or temperature.
Exactly.
Or
The wind chill and the temperature both play into these now. So you can have just an extremely cold morning below zero, and you'll see one of these alerts without any sort of additional wind chill. Hope that makes sense. It's just trying to make it easier for folks to understand that, wind chills are dangerous, and also absolute temperatures can also be very dangerous too. So it's just pairing them together.
Because at the end of the day, does it really matter if it's a cold issue? It's just a cold weather advisory. Might be wind, might be temperature. Bottom line is you just need to know. I mean, we'll give you the details, but you really just need to know, do I need to worry about the temperature? Yes or no? Well, in this instance, we have the cold weather advisory. Here's why. We've already got temperatures that are chilly. Here in Louisville, we're at 21. You see that on the screen. Outlying areas are already in the teens. Now, you say, well, that's not so bad. I mean, that's not dangerous if you're just out for a short period of time, but you start factoring in the wind, that's where it gets a little more concerning.
It feels like 9 degrees in LaGrange right now. Jasper has a 6-degree wind chill.
We're almost the coldest.
When you ever see feels like, we're always talking about wind chill or heat index. Obviously, heat index not right now. Wind chill is what we're talking about when you factor in the wind literally evaporating the moisture off of your skin. It gives you this cooling sensation and can take your body heat away faster. That's why wind chills are so important, because without that body heat that surrounds you, with it being depleted more quickly by the wind, you feel cold, and you are actually colder, and you can get into hypothermia and frostbite situations a lot faster thanks to wind chill. It's not a fake temperature, as some folks like to call it. This is in order.
Fake news.
I know.
I knew you were guilty of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get so many folks who are just like, oh, those fake temperatures. What's the real temperature? Well, this is meant to serve you and to make sure that safety is in mind here with these wind chills.
Yeah. So as we roll through the next 24 to 48 hours, we're talking lows tonight down to 12. This is actual air temperature. Factor in the wind, it's actually going to feel colder. So some areas with a decent snowpack down toward Hardinsburg, Litchfield, while your air temperature may be in the low single digits, your wind chill could be at or below zero early tomorrow morning or overnight tonight. So just be careful the next couple of mornings. While tonight is cold, believe it or not, with some clearing by early Friday, it's even colder.
Right. And there's not much of a wind chill by Friday morning because the wind will be even calmer than it will be tomorrow morning. Winds won't be super crazy overnight either night here, but you'll see those actual air temperatures down into the single digits, a couple folks close to zero.
Yeah, we've got the SkyTrack up here. Do you have that still pulled up? Maybe go back to Cord and just see if it's snowing there. That was giving us the best. All right. I don't know. I keep seeing, I'm reading some of your comments. Let me see if I can. Sorry, I'm trying to read some of the comments.
It's hard to
seems like we
talk
have,
and
like,
read at the same
well,
time.
I think we have a
know how that is.
spammer
Oh.
going on here. I'm just going to block
Easy
them.
to block
I
and ban.
typically don't block people, but it's like, that's enough. I can't.
There's
keep-
Corridon. Ta-da!
There we go. So it's still lightly snowing there. You look at the road. We've got a little bit of, you can see the tire marks. So that
Yeah,
shows that we've got a
something.
little bit of something on the road.
It's more like a snow globe there. It's just these snowflakes that are just kind of wispy. It's not coming down as consistently.
Well, if you
as it once
watch
was.
the car lights,
That's not so bad. Yeah,
it's still coming down.
coming down a bit.
I think you're seeing the wispy in front of the camera, but if
Yeah.
you look beyond that,
We get screens that are about this big to look at these cameras in here. It's hard to see it sometimes, but yeah, the bigger flakes aren't showing up as much, but certainly a pretty good clip of smaller flakes there, it looks like.
I'm looking at the lights. See if you look in those headlights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's coming down.
Yeah, there's a little bit. It's enough to make the road slick. I'll tell you that. That doesn't take a lot. All right, let's see if we can answer a few of your questions, and then we'll do what we did yesterday and the day before, and that's come back with some river levels. I know some folks have asked about that. Kathy said Brian gets rid of the spammers. Yeah, I usually just let them go, but they do get a little old after a while, right? I mean, when you're typing paragraphs, I can't see what the little comments are. I thought I blocked them once. I'll block them again. Delete them all. All right, what do we have? Anybody else chiming in?
Is there a chance the advisory going to extreme cold watch or extreme cold warning tonight or tomorrow night? No, I don't think so. We simply will not meet that criteria. You really have to get those wind chills down pretty far to 10 below, 15 below to start getting into that territory. So don't think so.
All right. Asking about the long range. Will it be a warm up for the end of February and early March? No.
We've got some warmer air in the forecast next week, but that's kind of temporary. We'll get 3 days in the 50s, maybe close-ish to 60. But after that, we're back to normal or below normal. So these will be very short-lived warm spurts.
All right, Dan, back in town. See, he was the one.
What's up, Dan?
He was the one saying he was sort of regretting they didn't move his car in the airport.
The remote lot.
It was in the remote lot.
Save that money, right?
But see, as it turns out, not a bad call.
Yeah,
I mean, what little snow we had probably blew right off going 65.
Can you imagine the people who...
I'm kidding. Of course, you had to get the snow off before you hit the interstate.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, right? Can you imagine the people who parked in the remote lot during all the ice last month and then coming back to have to chip their car out? That would have been no fun.
Not fun at all.
Oh my gosh. Even Alexa says it's too darn cold, according to Todd. If you ask Alexa what the weather is, it's too
Todd is sitting
cold.
around talking to Alexa all day. You think it's the machine or a person?
Who, Todd or Alexa?
Yeah, maybe Todd is a bot. Doesn't even exist. If I didn't know him and feel like I could tease him, I wouldn't say that.
He's just a figment of our
He's a bot,
right?
All right. Everybody's worried about the kids at the bus stop at 5, so.
Yeah, and by the way, arguing with us isn't going to fix anything because we're not superintendents here. So take your
well,
feedback about snow.
Let's argue with them.
Take your feedback about snow days to JCPS, BCPS, OCPS, whatever.
We love you, Kevin, and the rest of the Wave team. Yeah, we got a great team, so we appreciate that. Same one, Kathy's. You better tell Polio. He's retiring.
He is out after this academic year, right? So he doesn't have to worry about snow days anymore.
Too cold for the kids at the bus stop.
Yes.
We'll see.
Joni.
When I was a kid, can't you hear the stories from our parents?
Uphill, both ways, 15 miles in the snow, et cetera, et cetera. Yes.
JCPS, please decide. See, a lot of people want to know, especially the kids. They're like, "Come on, I've got homework to do. I'd rather not do it." Right? Listen, we were in your shoes.
We did this.
I get it. I'd be like, "No, Mom," because I was obviously fascinated with the weather. I'd be like, "No, I'm certain we're gonna have a snow day tomorrow. I don't need to study for that test. We're not gonna have it."
And most of the time,
guess what would happen?
You'd have school. And then here comes your science test,
I'm not ready. I think I've got a fever, Mom. I've got a fever. Please check my temperature. No, you're going to school. Get the car.
Gosh.
That's the way it was.
Yeah. Always study and do your homework the night before, even if you think you're going to have a snow day, because as luck would have it, things happen. I've been in that boat, and so have you.
Many times. Right? All right, here's one. Terry saying, thanks for all you do. Well, thank you. We wouldn't be doing it if you all weren't watching, so thank you for watching, right? Todd says, don't block me. I'm going to block him just for the fun.
Oh, my
No,
gosh.
I'm kidding. I'm not. It'd be funny, though.
Kevin can be impulsive sometimes, so I have to like crack the whip and be like, stop! Especially with tech stuff. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, just check.
I was saving that for something.
Glad to see you're still on.
Wow.
I don't know what that means exactly.
What is that like in general?
Yeah,
Or
I'm glad to see that you are still alive. Wow, the last time I saw you, you were young. I was reminded of that today. I was going to bring it in here, but I didn't. I was reminded of that in something I got in the mail today. I was sharing that with you.
Was so cool.
It was from 1999, and it was me and one of our storm spotters. That was one of my first projects. If anybody knows me, knows I like to do projects. And our first project was doing the storm spotters. And then we went from that to like storm chasers, the vehicles and all that. But our storm spotters, we had invited them all to the station for pizza and like a little storm spotting training session. But we took pictures with everybody. So here I am with one of our storm spotters who at the time would have been like in her 50s. Now, what'd she say? She was 80 something, 84.
You had a letter, so I can't remember.
I can't remember. But anyway, it was whatever it was 26 years ago. Wow. And she sent the picture and a nice card saying, hey, I remember. And she still calls to this day.
She does.
From Lebanon Junction. We're always hearing from Wanda and just appreciate all the people who've helped us throughout the years. You know, back then we didn't have the internet. It's archaic as that sounds.
How's this? The internet existed, but we did not have the internet in here. How's that?
Yeah. At least it was out there. Yeah. But we didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that seems like that is where you start to be like,
when you're like, I started before the internet was a widespread thing. Like that's crazy if you think about it. And I'm one of the last generations to remember a time before the internet. I remember
like 25.
Well.
How old are you?
34.
34.
Okay. I remember CompuServe.
Oh, you're older than I thought.
Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I remember
that baby face.
Yes.
Hope your hair doesn't fall out, or you're going to have this to
moisturize and not too much vitamin D.
Who has time for all that? Clearly not this. Right. Sorry to interrupt.
Anyway, I remember a time before the internet. The widespread internet before like 1994.
Dial up.
Oh, we had dial up. We had CompuServe. Oh, we had all sorts of fun stuff like that. The BBS bulletin board service back in the day.
You kind of come from a techie family.
I do. You know, we were using Windows 3.1 and MS-DOS, that kind of thing. So I learned DOS commands when I was like in first or second grade. I still use them, by the way. Some of our automation still runs on batch files that use MS-DOS commands I learned in the 90s. So it didn't go to waste. Hooray.
There we go. Snow coming down northeast Louisville. So we've got some snow falling. Appreciate that.
Yes. Is there school tomorrow?
I'm just going to put it out there. Is there school tomorrow? We still don't know. This just in. We don't know. Carrie is asking, will the federal budget cuts affect weather reporting? Well, of course, you know, for us, we're owned by private companies, so it doesn't affect our enterprise here outside of the fact that we translate warnings from the National Weather Service. We don't really have the authority to issue warnings. And the question is, will that? I don't really know if I have the answer to that, but I know there are cutbacks, and I know we're going to see some folks, you know, because they offered the buyout to federal employees, and I think that was across most divisions of the federal government. So I suspect we'll see some folks take those buyouts, and with it being in a hiring freeze, those positions may not get immediately refilled.
So yes, there will at least be some little impact, not to wave directly, but with the National Weather Service and our, you know, close relationship with them, ultimately there will be some sort of impact. We just don't know the level of that.
Eli's over it, ready for severe weather season, please.
Wasn't that last week? I'm sorry.
I'm more usually into severe weather season, but I'm so fatigued by all the winter weather that I'm just like, can we just skip it this year? Can we just jump right into the heat of summer and be good with that?
Yeah, because I
nice?
think we're done with 6 a.m. wake up calls with severe weather. I mean, that was rough a couple weeks back. Like, And that was in the middle of one of our snowiest winters in 10 years. We had severe weather. That's how nutty it's been.
Right. I was talking to John. I feel like I've talked to John the last couple of days, but I was talking to Belsky earlier today, and we were talking about the long-term sort of seasonal forecast. And he's like, it'll be your luck that you get severe weather during the overnight hours, which is the worst because it keeps you here. Hey, you got to be here in the afternoon and evening like we are. But then if there's a chance of severe weather overnight, you got to stay overnight too. Right. So, I mean, it's like those make the days really long. So he was teasing that, the way this winter's been and the way your luck's going, you'll have severe weather season that's through the overnight.
Just shift your hours to like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that'll just cover everything, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, might as well.
That's just permanent now. That's how the weather is.
Don't give them any ideas. They'll be like, that's a good idea. 12-hour shift, that's not bad. You've done it once before. You can keep doing it. Okay.
No bueno.
Hannah wants to know if you want to go storm chasing in the spring.
I do want to go storm chasing in the spring. I won't be going this year, unfortunately. The scheduling just doesn't work out. My sister's getting married, so that comes first.
Laura says she remembers me on the morning show.
Oh, yes.
That goes back a long time.
2000, 2001.
I remember the Commodore 64. I had it. My first computer was a Tandy.
Oh, Tandy from Radio Shack, Tandy Corporation. Yes. Oh, yes, I do know that one.
I could dot matrix printer.
had the little dots you had to pull off the sides of it, the little strips.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was always a beast, trying to get that thing fed in there right.
Made a heck of a noise to print. I remember those.
Ooh, I'm about ready to ban somebody accidentally. Sorry, Austin. Is this possibly the last blast of below zero wind chills?
We'll see about that. I don't want to say last.
Possibly. I like the word you use.
Yeah, possibly.
Do you know if Chicago...
Have no idea. Chicago roads are going to be okay. We were in Louisville, Kentucky there, Patty. Sorry.
Good question.
We have no clue.
You better hit Google up on that deal. I don't know. But when we look at our snow totals, we've had more snow than Chicago.
Isn't that amazing? We have outlasted so many northern cities snow-wise this year. Like a lot of places in Wisconsin and Minnesota had not seen as much snow as we've seen.
Did you just get an accent when you said Minnesota?
So I always it's like a weird tick of mine, just because I kind of make fun of the accent. Oh, Minnesota. And it just always kind of creeps into my speech, unfortunately. Oh, well, or fortunately, depending on if you're looking for comedy here.
Some people are. I guess that's exactly why they're tuned in. They're like, we'll just go with these clowns because they're on.
Lois says, I love you, Ryan. That being said, contact Dr. Polio for me.
Yeah. In other words, quit blowing her off and just dial the phone already.
Listen, my relationship with Dr. Polio is as follows. I saw him on at the Bardstown Road Starbucks once about 4 years ago. That is it. All right. So we don't have any special superpowers here over the school system. Oh my gosh, a Tandy 1000. All right. Yeah, now we're digging back into the early.
I don't even know what you do with that these days.
You look at pretty 320 by 240 grayscale pictures. That's about it. Yeah.
Anna says, do you remember Ken Schultz? What became of him? Well, of course we know Ken Schultz. I talked to him, it's been a little while back now. I'd say maybe a couple years since maybe a year since I've seen him.
But he was the first meteorologist I ever shadowed here in Louisville back in January of 2007. And he and I emailed all the way through
away
college.
Family.
I was.
What happened?
You were the second job shadow.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why.
Oh, I had a connection in it. WHAS at the time. One of my teachers had a connection in there. They're like, oh, go get a job shadow. And then I was like, this is awesome. I need to do another one. And that's when I popped in.
Speaking of comedy, hilarious. Ken Schultz is one of the most.
He is so funny.
People.
Yes.
If you ever heard him on the radio with Terry, just hilarious and an all-around good guy. After he left TV, he went to work for Humana. Now I think he's just totally retired. But on occasion, you'll see and hear from him.
He is such a good guy. He told me so much good information as a high schooler to get me into this business and
run.
Yeah, he actually did say that. Funny enough.
That's what he would say.
Yeah, that's absolutely what he said. It was funny.
So the first person, I was always close to John when I was in school. So this kind of takes us back to how people get into this business. First of all, Tom always said, if you got bit by the weather bug, when you were young, it just always stuck. And
that's true.
And, you'd grow up and do something in the weather business. But I always loved watching John Belsky because he made weather look fun. Yeah. And I was like, man, I would like to, could you imagine having a job like that every day? And so anyway, I came down here, shadowed him here, took a tour of the station. He was so nice. And then I invited him down. Now, you got to remember, I went to school like an hour and a half away from
Southern
Louisville.
Nelson County.
Yeah, and he drove all the way down there. That adds 3 hours to his day. This is what you don't realize when you realize that, when we speak at places or we go places, all of that's done outside of your 10-hour workday.
It is. Like I went to Ramsey, Indiana. Hello, North Harrison Middle School.
Popcorn capital
of the U.S., the world of Indiana.
We'll go with that.
Popcorn capital, period.
That's why I stopped there.
I don't remember what the actual name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, went up to Ramsey, Indiana. That's not
a haul.
That's a haul of a drive. But boy, is it fun. I love interacting with all the kids up there. And you kind of have to foster the next generation of meteorologists because not a lot of kids are going to school for meteorology anymore. These numbers of students and graduates are shrinking. So we need to get kids interested in weather so that we can have that next generation of meteorologists working for the government, energy sector, here in media, of course. We all work together, so we need warm bodies who can help us out protecting, life and property here.
Yeah, it's it's fun to see when you have a kid that has an interest because oftentimes, we see it. We see it in Carson.
Yeah, he job shadowed with me in 2013 as a high schooler, and now I feel ancient because he works with us now, and I'm like, holy cow, that's been 10 years.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Brian and I interned together back in '96. Yeah. That was crazy. That was at another station in town.
That was 29 years ago, if you're keeping score.
Oh, Lord.
Ouch.
Where does the time go? I feel like yesterday, is when it all started.
and then you look back at all that's happened since then. You go, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't yesterday.
That was 29 years ago.
I saw that picture that Wanda sent her, and I was like, my God, look, I had hair. I had a lot of hair. And I was young and skinnier. Austin says he misses Christy Dutton, too. Yeah, we all miss Christy. Now, I do talk to Christy all the time.
We still hang out.
We'll see her
with her. Yeah.
Next week.
Sweet.
Interested in meteorology, but I'm not a fan of science or stats. Well, there would be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you got to be decent at math, physics, science, chemistry.
You don't have to like math, but you have to be decent at math to be a meteorologist. That's what I always said to everybody.
It's better if you like it because it makes it easier. And whatever you do, don't get behind in it, thinking that's bad. Oh, I'll just catch up. Mathematics is one of those things where you don't ever really catch up because it's not like you'll just turn the page and learn something new. It kind of all builds on the same thing.
Yeah, it's like
that underlying principle
if you're bad at algebra, getting into calculus is tough because you'll make algebra mistakes like I did in calculus 2 or 3, and your algebra mistakes will count you off on your test, even though you know the calculus concept. So it always builds on each other.
Now, Alan, again, everybody may recognize Alan's name from we pop it up on here. He's a big snow lover.
I could tell.
He was forecasting how much?
I don't remember.
8 to 10 inches?
8 to 10. That's right. Yeah.
Alan, you were wrong, and I'm just pointing it out because you are such a snow lover. He says he wants to come and shadow with us.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Let's bring Alan in.
Let's do it.
Alan, you're always welcome, and you know that. And by the way, we were wrong, too. So there's nothing wrong with admitting when you're wrong.
I was getting ready to say that, too, but I'm glad you did. You said it first.
We're just being funny. All right, here we go. Natalie, I'm a meteorology major, and I love it.
Let us know, Natalie, where you're going to school there. We'd like to give you a shout out.
Yeah.
A lot of good schools.
Nancy says Belsky's blog was the blog that got obsessed with the weather. That was one of the first, John was always on the leading edge of that kind of stuff. And then, then we started a web page. It's so funny to say that.
So archaic. I have a web page.
Yeah. And then that led to the blog because it was new and exciting. And he would do that every day and post, fun facts. He has a steel trap up there.
It's amazing some of the things that he would come up with to compare, current weather events to different cities, different time frames. Just really good with making stats fun for people.
Norman, and Norman's great. He'll tweet us a lot of information from up near Madison. Yes. There are many options for kids. NOAA, the National Hurricane Center, the NTSB, just to mention a few high-level jobs. Yeah, a lot of the airlines, a lot of the bigger box stores, places like Target, places like Macy's, Walmart, they all hire meteorologists because they want to know what the winter is going to be like. Do they need to stock up on gloves, on salt, on whatever?
And there are a lot of businesses that cater to those big businesses too. So you've got weather, literally companies that just consult with other businesses. So even if you don't work for Target or Walmart, you might work for a company that consults with them. So kind of hard to think of when you're young, but there are opportunities that may seem a little bit more abstract like that.
Natalie answered your question.
Oh,
She's going to U of L.
Hey, that's
Congrats.
a newer program, and they are really souping it up. It's good.
Yeah, Chris Bose says Wave should get a sponsor to run a contest for 3 days in the Wave Storm Tracker during peak season. Companies like roofing companies, insurance companies would likely fund it.
Would you like to work for our sales department, Chris?
I'm afraid our insurance company wouldn't like it. The bad part about the Storm Tracker is it only has 2 seats. So that's the bad part.
Yeah, you can't really take a whole bunch of people out in it.
Yeah, it's full of equipment.
Right. It's not like our weather RV where we used to pack them in. I drove that weather RV. If you remember this Wave Storm Tracking Team RV, the first time I ever drove an RV was in old Louisville with all the branches overhanging the road. And boy, did it scare the you-know-what out of me. It was just small enough that you didn't need a special, thing to be able to drive it, a CDL. So that was not fun.
Yeah, I usually drove it. There was one time that we let Christy drive it.
And there was a reason why.
One time.
I don't think I was there for that one. Yeah. That RV was fun, though. It was a good kind of billboard for our brand, community outreach, parades, whatnot. And we still do that sometimes with the Storm Tracker, too.
Yeah, that's what it was all about, because at that time, Tom and John were retiring, and it was like, man, I was a lone guy here that had only been here for however long it's been.
We had to do a little promotion to
so
let people know
we got a whole new team coming on. We want to come to your neighborhood and meet you. So we literally signed up for every festival, parade, whatever we could do, and we went to. I forget how many. I had a map with pins.
I saw that map
where we went over the course. It was 50 some places over the course of 2 years.
Yeah,
and it really did help. It actually helped us because A, we got to meet a lot of people, but B, every time you would call out a place on the map, like Salem, Indiana, or Rhineyville, or wherever, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've been there. I know where that is.
Like,
so you can talk about
gas station and barbecue restaurant, and that's where the Ham Days parade happens, that kind of thing. Like, you just learn more about the community when you actually go to it. And that's why we do things like school visits, parades, etc., because it helps us and it helps you to know that we are looking out for you.
Right. All right. Back to a few questions. I do feel like we had a few weather questions in here. I was trying to get back to the travel. Somebody was asking about travel. Let's just put up on the map.
And look how big these snowflakes are in Corden, by the way. That escalated quickly, as they say. That looks pretty good there.
Sidewalk.
Good little
seeing some. Now, some of that snow is on the sidewalk.
Yeah. But nice little clip of snow there in Corden right now.
All right, I'm going to put up the radar. We'll go back to this just a second since we've been babbling.
Us babbling on these live streams? I've never.
It's 9:02. We're not staying on as long as we did last night. We were in here to 9:40 something?
Yeah.
Too late.
It was a full length animated movie length, like an hour and a half we were on last night.
Ooh, there's that nice band. Boy, the Her did a nice job picking that out.
It did. Well, don't bet against the Her this week, right?
Evidently. Now, it's not always been sharp, but it's been good for yesterday, and so far, so good for today.
Yeah.
We zoom into that area right over Corden.
Boom.
Will it hit Louisville? Well, I tell you, the place that stands the best chance is going to be Southwest Louisville.
Yeah.
So anywhere from Portland, Parkland, right down through Shively, PRP, Valley Station, Fairdale, you'll stand the better chance at getting that snow. I put it in motion for you here. There it comes. So you can see the movement of that.
It's kind of interesting. It's not moving like a thunderstorm cell. This is moving like more of like a wave in the atmosphere, just kind of kicking up this snow and propagating it eastbound here. So it kind of changes shape with every sort of radar.
It's like an amoeba.
An amoeba. Oh, yeah. Now we're getting scientific here. Welcome to
so
biology.
We've got decent snow down through Breck County, moving into Meade County. So, this will stretch through the area. You could get up to an inch.
Festive flakes.
Festive flakes. All right, I'm going to zoom back out. This is the nationwide view. So you can see really outside of the snow moving off the East Coast, this is some of the only snow across the country until you get way back out toward like Montana and Wyoming. But the question about the roads is, will those be slick? And the answer to that question is yes, they could have some slick spots both tonight and early tomorrow.
And it's because of not only the snow accumulating, but the temperature being so low that you're not going to have a great success with just traditional road salt in trying to clear some of that out there. So use caution. Even a dusting to an inch can cause quite a few accidents. We see here in Louisville that most of our car crashes in snow happen between a half inch and an inch of snow. It does not take much because people just think it's not enough to cause a problem. It is.
That's a good I'll remember to use that tonight.
We do have that. Yep.
There's Graham saying, I work for Amazon. They have a meteorologist tell us when to close. And
bingo.
whatnot.
Yeah. It's super important because you need, meteorologists tell you where to ship goods, how to keep your employees safe. It's important stuff. This is the best Weather Channel.
Yeah, you bet it is.
We're even better than the Weather Channel.
Yes.
Louise says, go to Manual. I want to learn more about being a meteorology major. I went to Manual. I graduated from the HSU program 2009. Yes, you can go to U of L, WKU, Mississippi State, Purdue, tons of meteorology schools. Focus on math and science when you're at Manual. Even if you're not in the MST program, you can take the math and science you need. Take AB Calc your senior year. Do that, please. That will make your life so much easier in college.
When you think we'll get above freezing, says Dave. Maybe by the weekend?
Yeah, Friday afternoon, we have a chance. Saturday for sure.
All right. I tell you, we do have some river levels I want to go over. We'll come back and show the sky tracks again. But let's take just a quick break, and we'll be right back as we reset for the river levels. Stay with us. All right, we're back with you here. Again, our sky tracks are focused on the snow, but I want to talk a little bit about the river levels that we have. Obviously, they're still out of their banks, and you're going to see some improvement, especially to our south. And I'll get into the Rolling Fork in a second. Ranging in that moderate range, the Kentucky River over toward Frankfort.
Yeah, Kentucky River toward Frankfort right now. That is moderate. You see those flood warnings right now. They are situated in the green there. The smaller rivers like the Rolling Fork, the Kentucky River, they always swell so quickly. They crest and then they go down quickly. So most of those smaller rivers have crested, but the Ohio River hasn't crested yet.
No, and it will take some time. Anytime you get the larger tributaries that are rising, and especially what's happening in the Northeast affects us too. We're at 27.77 feet on the upper gauge of the Ohio, and we're forecast to go up not quite another foot, but we'll go up to about 28.4. We keep that in a minor flood, but it's on the upper end of the minor flood, and that just means some sections of River Road closed, Juniper Beach gets cut off, you start to run into some problems down toward Mockingbird Valley Road. And then when you try to take that right-hand turn from the I-64 ramp, it's blocked.
And there are Trimark digital signs that remind you of this as you're coming up on it, either from 65 or 64. Hey, you can't make a right turn off that 3rd Street ramp, by the way.
Yeah, and here's the lower gauge. And you can see that's at what, 59.05?
Yeah.
That's almost at its crest. It's going to hold in the minor flood through the first part of the weekend.
Yeah, it looks like Saturday is when it'll finally go down. That minor flood designation, once you get about 55 feet, parks and riverfront areas in Clarksville and New Albany are flooding. Dixie Highway from PRP to West Point, you could have some flooding there as well. So that's the lower gauge. It serves more western Jefferson County and the New Albany area. This has been the most impressive of the gauges right here. My goodness. And they finally, the rolling fork near Boston, have seen that go back down into minor flood there. And it will fall very quickly because it is such a small river. These levels go up as fast as they come down. So we have already crested. It was a crest that was the largest we've seen on the rolling fork near Boston since 2010. So pretty significant flooding there, but thankfully below flood stage there as we head throughout tomorrow afternoon.
All right, so that's a quick peek at the river levels. Here comes the 10-day. We'll be on for about another 5 minutes. We're going to call it quits at 9:15 here, but I do want to put up a new
got something
feature.
new.
I love the new shiny objects. I love it.
We debuted this at 7 o'clock tonight,
Yep.
And it's a pretty cool idea, but it's something you're going to see a lot of from now on. You know how alert days on our 10-day, kind of looked like they were for the whole day, but maybe it was only for the morning, only for the evening.
Tough to tell. People would see it. They'd be like, well, wait a minute. I've got plans in the afternoon. Is that for the afternoon? Is that for the morning? What's that? When is the alert day? And of course, we would break it down, but it's not always as convenient when you can just look at it.
We wanted to make it glanceable. If you're like at a bar and looking up and we're on, and it's like, when is that alert day? It looks like it's the whole day. Well, this at least allows us to do partial alert days on our 10-day and a few other graphics you'll see. Basically, the red highlight you see behind Thursday there occupies the left half of the day, meaning that's an early alert day, a morning one. And if it occupied the right-hand side, it would be kind of a PM, afternoon or evening. So now we can split these up just to tell you like, hey, later in the day you'll be fine. Early in the day is when to watch out. And that's literally it. It's all automated, so we can throw these in any day, makes it super easy. And you'll see these on Wave Weather now as well. And so many different graphics that serve you on there, makes it a little easier to tell what's going on.
That way you don't have to sort of get bogged down by the whole day thinking, well, is the alert day over or when's it going to be for tomorrow? Just early tomorrow. Once we get past the morning rush, it's out of here. If you want more details, obviously you can watch either on the live stream or on TV, and we'll be talking about specific hours there. But if you're just capturing the 10-day and you're like, oh, I see, that's for the first half of the day. All right, if you have plans, then you can dial in and get more information. Or if you've got plans in the afternoon, you can look at that and be like, oh, I don't even have to worry about it. Move on with the day.
So I like it. That was kind of our engineering feat of the last 2 weeks here, getting that going.
Yes.
We hope to have it for this snow event, and we caught the tail end of it, thankfully.
Wesley says, really enjoyed when Wave 3 did the Kid Casters.
Yes.
Really enjoy. I still have a magnet, the Kid Caster
Yes,
magnet.
I remember the logo.
Really enjoyed doing the weather with you, Kevin, when I was a kid.
Oh, how sweet. I love that.
I wonder how old Wesley is now.
How old are you, Wesley?
Yeah.
Probably my age or maybe slightly north of there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry to say.
See what I mean? Do you remember the Kid Casters?
I do.
What?
Yeah. And that was,
No, you don't.
Kid Casters was in the
How
early
old?
2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like 12, 13. Sorry, kids. Yeah,
Right.
we're getting old. Us millennials over
Wesley's
here.
almost 30.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, God.
See? Told you.
Boy, it's amazing how fast time goes by.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Todd says Wesley is 65. Okay.
Wesley has AARP now.
I knew I should have blocked Todd.
He is the comedic relief.
Yes.
He's like the third host here. I love this.
Crazy. Here we go with Dale. Travel to Versailles or Versailles on Friday at noon for a meeting. Any concern over the trip down 71 Friday at noon?
Should be okay.
I wouldn't think we have any problems.
I think KYTC will have that well more than mopped up well before that.
Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. That gives a whole nother day.
You're good.
It's going to be cold, but I don't think we have any problems on them, especially the main interstates.
Yeah, you're going to be fine on 71.
Snowing good in Tell City, Indiana.
Yes. Western part of Perry County there, starting to see some good snow, but it won't last long. Kevin's going to bring up SkyTrack here.
What's the difference between good snow and bad snow?
Bad snow is when you don't want it. Good snow is when you want it. So it's all about perspective, right? It's perspective.
Melissa, please repeat tonight's forecast. I think we did that since you've typed that. But again, it's snowing. It's
her comment was from 10 minutes ago, and we had been.
Oh, was it? I'm bouncing
I'm
around.
just looking at the timestamps here. Yeah, so we know. So Kevin's like 70. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Not even close, kids. I promise.
I'm almost 50.
That's hard to believe.
I'm 49.
That's like for real. That makes me feel.
I started here when I was young.
Yes, so did I. We both started here, by the way, Kevin and I, when we were 22 years old. Not at the same time, but we were 22 when we started.
Yes.
At different times. About 15 years apart.
Right. Here we go. Remember,
Oh, the emoji
we were
wheel.
just talking about this.
Yeah.
It's down in the
We
basement.
still have it.
Yeah, I want to get it back out. I don't know. You don't see many of those games anymore. Like, I don't know what we would do,
why.
but we've got to figure that
I
out.
wonder why the games went away. Maybe it's just because it was.
Well, remember the one girl that would open the oyster?
Oh, good.
Or whatever
Lord.
it was?
She had
Isn't that
like,
what it
yeah,
was?
it was the oyster. She would see what kind of pearl they would have inside of them. Yeah.
It was the craziest thing.
And that was when Facebook Live
thousands of
first,
people
like
watched it.
2019-ish, 2018-ish.
That's what gave us the idea.
Nuts. Yeah.
We watched that and we said, oh my God, if people are going to sit here and watch this, we need an emoji wheel to spin and give away prizes.
Yeah, and the reason we had it is because each of the reactions on Facebook, we would basically take all the people who reacted a certain way and put them in a bin and kind of, randomly generated who would win a prize. It's a little more complex now. We've got so many different live video platforms. Not sure how we would do it, but it could possibly be done. It'd be interesting to see how that works.
All right. Everybody wants to know our ages all of a sudden here. So I don't know how to say that any different, is hoping it doesn't come off as rude, but genuinely curious, how old are you all? And then Maddox is saying, how old is Brian? Brian's 62. But I know he doesn't look a day older than like 40-ish. So
the death stare he's probably giving you right now from afar.
Are you kidding me? Was he 61? Ish. Do you know he did that to me?
I know he did
Facebook,
that to you. Yes.
So I'm doing it back.
You're giving him his right return here.
How old is Brian? He's like 3 years younger than me, 2 years younger than me. He's like 46, 47.
Yeah, I think
something like that.
Yeah.
So that's how old Brian is. We just determined Ryan is 34.
Ding, ding.
I'm 49.
Yeah.
Carson's 27.
Yeah.
And Tawana's
32, 31, 32.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember everybody's
I don't
year
know
of
everybody's.
birth, and I'm having trouble over
I have it written down.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you turn 50. You forget everything, evidently.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Laura says she still has her ice scraper. Yeah, we used to give away scrapers, pencils, umbrellas.
Oh, the umbrellas.
What else did we give away? T-shirts.
We did have some Eclipse T-shirts at the time.
Yeah.
That we were giving away. This was close to the 2017 Eclipse. We did this. I remember the August 2017 Eclipse. We did some of those giveaways, and it was popular. That was when Facebook Live was first starting, and you could get like 1 million views on random things. It was nuts. We did some crazy stuff.
It was fun.
Back then.
We always like to be on the leading edge of things in the weather department. I mean, when you think of wave weather, that's what it was always about. It was the first one with a radar. They took a radar out of a plane.
Yeah, it was a Delta Airlines plane.
To do it.
Yeah.
First TV station that had a real certified meteorologist.
Tom Wilson 69.
First TV station to have a blog.
Yeah.
An internet page.
2000s, yeah.
First TV station to have, trying to remember all the first, but we had a lot. Our own radar.
Yes.
Which I mentioned the one out of the plane, but then we had another one.
Yeah.
What else? First with a storm tracker, a chase vehicle. First with a 10-day forecast or 14-day forecast, a long-range forecast. Yeah. John did that. First on Facebook.
First 24/7 local weather live stream, which you're watching right now.
Yes.
By the way, this is our baby right here. This is kind of how we lead the way here. Nobody else has started one yet. We have been unopposed for about 3 years here, which is kind of amazing. So Wave Weather now getting ready to turn 3 pretty soon.
Yeah. Now some people have switched to Todd says he's 62 and Angela says she's 62 as well. Now everybody's just confessing their age. Wait, Carson, full-time? Like, how does the weekend shift work? The 24-hour shift. Well, we do it a little different than most stations across the country. It is a long shift. So it's essentially he gets 4 days of work across the weekend, and then he works usually Fridays, but sometimes that day moves around.
Shift. Yeah, so he's working essentially 2 doubles on the weekends and then 1 normal work day during the week.
Yeah. Oh, Laura's helping us out. First in color, first in HD. There we go. Forgot about that side of it. First, yes.
I remember when Wave went HD. This was like in June of 2008. I was so excited. Like, oh my gosh, first TV station in Louisville in HD. And of course, I recorded it, but I didn't have any way to record it in HD. So I have an SD recording of Wave starting out in HD for the first time.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of acclaim because it was really only the studio cameras.
Yeah, it's
that were
literally just a few
HD.
cameras. Yeah.
Not every camera because we were still on microwave at that time.
Yes.
To get the signal back. So that was not HD.
Our recorded news stories went HD in 2014, so it took a little bit. Our weather graphics were HD pretty early on, though. So that was probably 2009, 2010, around there. When we got HD weather graphics out of Weather Central there, ESP Live was HD. So we did do a lot of this stuff really early, but it was baby steps.
Here's Dale saying, I worked with Tom Wheels' daughter during the time when Wave had Will Spelsky and Harned.
Oh.
We shared a lot of stories that may or may not have been fiction. Yeah, exactly. We still share those stories.
And we still don't know if they're fiction or not.
Yeah, you say them long enough, you believe them. So we just go with it, right? All right, we're 5 minutes past our time. You've got to go home. I have got to get ready for the 11 o'clock show. We hope everybody's settled in. Be careful if you head out. It's not going to be a massive catastrophe if you go out, but it will be slick in places because of the temperatures. We still have some of the snow falling. You see that down across the Corridon area and here in Louisville. So just know that we do have the cold temperatures in place. Refreezing is a real thing, even if the roads have been treated.
Right. So with those temperatures down into the lower teens tonight and the single digits tomorrow night, road treatment not super effective unless they have a special, chemical mix there. Those snow chances overnight really peaking in the next couple hours.
For sure. All right, gang, we appreciate you chiming in. We will let you go do whatever you're going to do for the rest of the evening. And we say thanks for watching as always. And with no alert, wait a minute, a 10-day with no more alert days past tomorrow morning. We may not see you for a little while. Well, if we get bored, we'll jump back on because you're all good company. So maybe we should just do this Dog and Pony show every night.
Perhaps.
We'll see. We'll say goodbye for now. We'll take it. We won't be here tomorrow. We're going to take at least
a break.
It's
Lord
been
Almighty.
Brutal. We haven't stopped talking for days.
Right. I haven't been home in 2 weeks now. It's not been that bad.
All right. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
See you at 11.